Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Ethlor Plays Go. Today we have two handicap games that I played at my local Go club. I'm reviewing these games with the permission of those involved, even if I'll keep them anonymous. And yeah, so these are real games. I'm playing as White. These are games I'm playing against real people, and I'm sure this will be informative for a lot of you, but this is mostly just to give feedback to those at my club who I'm playing. If you are interested in game reviews, if you enjoy what I'm doing here, then feel free to send me your games. I'll leave an email in the doobly-doo. Uh, Without further ado, let's just get into it. So here, this is a 9-stone handicap, pretty big handicap. A lot of people freak out when they see a board like this, unless you're playing beginner, in which case, as White, you usually feel like you're going to win because White will always make mistakes. It's not quite like that. The way how I handle it is we play games, and if one of us wins 3 games in a row, then we adjust the handicap in the direction of that player. So what I mean by that is, if White wins 3 times in a row, then the handicap gets increased, and if White loses 3 times in a row, then the handicap gets decreased. You can also add 5.5 points reverse Comey in order to simulate like a half a stone. So yeah, that's basically, and you can kind of adjust those parameters how you like. If you want to adjust the levels faster, then you can do it with fewer games, win one in a row, and or maybe like not moving in half steps or whatever. So like you can adjust those how you like, but that's basically how we try and converge on having a handicap that's reasonable. This player who I've played against, I think he's in a bit of a slump at the moment, and so we're playing on hands at 9 stones. But I'm very sure that once they find their rhythm again, they should easily be able to move past this. So, and to be fair, in this game they won, so they did very well. So let's talk about this a bit. So here, Black responds normally to the approach, and then we do an attach. In previous games, I think if you look on the playlist on Handicap Go that I have on the channel, then I'll say that you shouldn't play Joseki moves. Here you can see that I'm ignoring that and I'm playing Joseki, and that's because I was watching some of Shigos games, and his strategy for handicap games is to make 2 positions and then jump into the corner, and he makes those 2 positions by just playing normal moves. So this is something that I'm trying out and see how it goes. And here you can see that I recommend some moves because Black plays here. I don't necessarily recommend this because the result is like White extends. There's another Atari. Another Atari. The point is that there are many Ataris, and we get to this position. Normally, Black extends here, and this position on an open board or in an even game would be considered as being even for both, or good for White rather. So this is because Black is pushed low, and I especially dislike this in a handicap game because you can get much better results as Black. Here you give White a lot of influence towards the center, and this is really what you don't want to do. So I would really recommend not playing this in a handicap game. Not because I mean, it isn't like a disaster if you play it on an even game, but in an even game it's slightly good for White, which means that you definitely should not play it in a handicap game, especially because there are better. So here, like, there are 2 things you can do. So either you say I have no faith in myself to play this correctly, and then you can just like play B or C. These are like very solid responses where you just make a simple position. And if you're playing at 9 stones, then I can recommend playing like this because it's okay to make a slightly, like, I talk a little bit about how suboptimal moves for Black done many times over the course of a game can end up messing you up a bit or leading you to lose the advantage. But I think the point, if I'm playing a handicap game as Black, then the idea is to make a solid positions to start with before putting pressure on White. So just playing very clean shape, settling it very fast, I think that's okay. It's obviously not ideal, but you can do this. Whereas if you can also play, this would be going for the more standard versions. So here you then connect, and then you have the choice between A and B. You can easily play something like this. You know, you can even extend here again because it's a handicap game. Like you can. Black has the entire board, so that's fine. Or you can play this very cheeky move, and you can go for this variation here. So White, I think, shouldn't. Well, according to my usual logic, White shouldn't play like this because then White lives in the corner and Black gets the outside. But once again, the handicap game, or the idea that I learned from Shy Ghost, is that you then challenge black later to see how well they use this influence. And so, okay, so I really like this as black because you take the outside. So this is really nice. So once again, the message here is either play solidly or just play actual Joseki. Don't play the variation, which is slightly good for white, because white needs these advantages, and you're just handing it to them. There's no reason to. So here, even this leaves a couple of cut points behind, and this can be useful later for white. So the point with aji, so aji means taste in Japanese, and this leaves a flavor behind. There's not something directly, but you can smell the problem, and it's not that there's something that works immediately. There's not like a direct refutation, but during the fighting later, this can become annoying. And in Go, if you want to play aggressively, if you're black and you want to put pressure on white, don't leave weaknesses behind, because you can't put pressure on white if you're going to leave weaknesses. So the normal move is just to extend here. This is Joseki. This is slightly good for white, but you can play like this. So yes, play if you're don't leave these weaknesses. White doesn't do anything about this right now, and the reason why white doesn't do anything is because they want to leave these weaknesses behind. So I'm leaving this here so that hopefully I can use it later in the fighting. So black plays again, and that kind of shows that something maybe wasn't quite right. I'm not sure if this exchange, maybe on this board, is it a good exchange for black? Like you kind of fix the weakness, but you don't like that shows that you shouldn't have left that behind in the first place. Or is this helping white? Like you've also removed the possibility that black can come out here. So I'm not sure if this is really helping black. But anyway, black plays a pincer, white jumps out. I've played a jump out a lot against this player, and so what I'm thinking is that maybe if I play the same variation too many times, then they learn how to handle it, and then as white, you should try it. If you're playing against the same player, you should learn to keep it fresh. So the reason why is clear in a second. So I play this capping move, and when you're playing handicap games, the motif is to make two things on the side and then cap black here. And the idea is that in a nice zone handicap game, you have you're supposed to have such an advantage in terms of playing strength that you can basically, like the idea is that you have to split in strength, and so you can just bully the opponent, and then they should get into a very defensive mindset, and that's what's going to cause them to fall behind. But of course, this is it's an immense overplay. So like there are two weaknesses at A and B. These are large. So it isn't even Ogema at N15. This large knight's move. It's not even that. It's like doubly large. What did they call it? Like Dan Ogema or something like that. Like it's extra big. So these are two weaknesses, and then black can just make a base at C. So black can probably just live outright. So this K14 move is like an overplay. At 9, so like I was reviewing a lot of the handicap games from Shy Ghost, and it seems that at 2 stones, you can basically ignore the handicap, and then as the handicap gets bigger, up to 9 stones, you have to take a couple of liberties, and you have to be a little bit cheeky in terms of how you play as white. You can't really be, but like there's a degree there, like that chain, like at like for instance at like 4 stones or 5 stones, you probably still should play not normally completely, but at 9 stones, you really have to take more liberties. So the idea is that this is a complete overplay. Black can play, you can even like attach. Like black can really play, the handicap is so big that black can just do anything. And the main thing is just keep white separated. I will say over and over again on this channel until I'm blue in the face that connection, disconnection is the fundamental thing of Go. And so disconnect, like either that or just live, but you should jump out to the center before just living. So, at least play A, do something, So here, black tries to say, there's a weakness, but of course this immediately doesn't work because there's no weakness. So if you're gonna try and point at weakness, then at least make sure it's there, because white's just gonna ignore it if not. So I think like white, I don't know about this move. Maybe I could have like tried come underneath like this. I don't know. So here I try and stay strong, I suppose. Here I'm showing the issue, and then the issue is that here, okay, black makes a decent enough position, and so they make a base. I would recommend jumping out to trying to get into the center before making a base. Making a base just immediately is a bit small. Like, okay, fine, maybe it's a 9-stone handicap and you can play a little bit inefficiently, but like I think like there's some issue, like we'll come to later why this becomes a bit more problematic. So I would just recommend just like I would personally just attach over here and just like make a position, keep white separated, and keep attacking this group. That's what my plan would be. Here I kind of like lose my not my temper, but my patience a little bit. So the issue when you're playing as white in a 9-stone handicap is that objectively there are no good moves for white. Objectively, the game is lost, and you're a fool for even playing. But it's not true because your opponent is that much weaker than you. So you haven't made a mistake by playing, but objectively there are no good moves on the board. So how do you handle this now as white? So I mean, you can probably maybe you can just Tanuki and just leave it as it is. I mean, like the issue is that this attachment, like there isn't a real. I mean, there is a weakness, but it's not like glaring weakness. I mean, if the issue that we had in this game, just so I reveal it right now, is that we had this move, which is threatening to either connect to A or to connect to these stones on the side by playing an 18. And so if black just captures here, then that goes away. So that's one solution right away. Just read one move ahead before playing a move. Just I think especially for this player, I think that like a lot of us, like me too, I'm also this way where we've been playing the game for a really long time, and so there are moves that are just obvious to us because we've been playing for way too long. And I think that means that we play a little bit on intuition when we should really be reading it out. And I think I could learn this from playing chess, because chess does not let you be lax with your reading. Chess has no concept of, oh, this is the right move because it's the shape point and this looks beautiful and so on. Chess is all about brute calculation. And so if you're going to play like chess, if you play any move, you have to then read it out how it's going to proceed. And so that to the player who I'm reviewing, what would happen if white plays here? Like it's this isn't something where this challenges their reading. I know their reading is strong enough to see this. They even find sharp moves often when they're looking for them. So I know that this player can find this move, but it's just a matter of doing that looking. And yeah, so they didn't do that basically. So I connect underneath here, and black felt like, oh no, and so jumps out, which is okay. It's not ideal, but it's they could have just captured, or they could have just made a base right away over here, and that also would have prevented this, which is what I meant to say this whole time. So what do we have? We jump out, white jumps out. So so you can see like the reason why this isn't so great. I mean, maybe it was okay, but the idea is that ideally black just captures the stone and is strong, and white just helped black to settle. So this move is not good. I would recommend to white. I mean, the most naive thing is to play here, but I know this player is just going to play here, and then, I mean, okay, maybe fair enough. Maybe I can try and invade this later, perhaps. It's difficult to know. It's a 9-stone handicap. There are no good moves. You could Tanuki maybe, whatever. Moving on. So here, I played this move because, I mean, I was feeling just very obviously to play here, and the reason why is because, like, if white tries to surround, it's just very obviously, it's just not going to work. So, like, I mean, no, yeah, you play here, a couple moves. I guess you can't play this way, so, like, this way. So, yeah, maybe it's not as good as I thought. But, I mean, you can also just, can you, like, play this Hane and come here? Okay, fair enough, I guess, that maybe it's not the best way. Yeah, this is okay in any case. I mean, just stay out in the center, and black then plays very well here. So this one, black knows because they've played this against me in the past. They know to take this cut. This cut's basically great for black, and the reason why is because it splits white. And I want to enforce this for the person whose game I'm reviewing, that this is what made this work, is that you kept white separated, and disconnection is the most fundamental thing in Go. So Keep white disconnected. Very great. I like this. So do that. And here, and I basically don't even have time to play here. Like, we even find out later that this part here is not even so bad, so you can probably just play here immediately. But in the case that this is bad, you can just play here, and maybe, but I mean, you get this kind of position. Yeah, I guess if you don't want to handle the corner, then just be solid and then see what happens over here. But then here, and then this one. But then I think white will die in the corner. I think it's interesting finding all these possible weaknesses. But yeah, anyway, you come this way. And then I just came this way right away. And I mean, here I was just thinking, what can you do? Let me think. So coming here, my idea was I was going to try and capture this black group, but then black just played here, and yeah, it was a bit challenging. So let's see. There was a very sneaky move. This move was really sneaky. I didn't realize that it was so strong because black can just play this Atari and then capture these stones, and then I have to live in the corner in Gote, which sucks. So yeah, the very, very good move here, and very great follow-up. So you can see what I say here, that black is actually quite a sharp player when they really... I keep saying this to them. I don't know if they understand, but you know, when they're so inclined, they can find moves like this. Like, I missed this. This is pretty good. This is somebody I'm giving 9 stones to. They found this weakness. That's really wonderful. I really like that. So here, let's see. So they found this, and then I had to live. That means that white really needs to play again after this, so I should probably play... I would play here, but once again, there's the same problem. So, you know, you need to play something as like this, or like this one. So yeah, that's not wonderful. But you can see how, like, I lost these stones. And in a handicap game, if white loses any stones, it's horrible. It's horrible as white to lose stones. And the reason why it's so horrible is because black is then connected, completely connected, and is alive, and white has lost points as well. Like, white is behind on territory. They don't have time to lose stones. So this is an amazing result for black. So that's really good. And I think that comes from trying to play this move. It turns out the white's too weak. White, like, even in a handicap game, you need to take care of your weaknesses with white. So, like, white really needs to focus on their weaknesses, basically. So you can tell that I don't really feel that I played too well in this game. We can continue a little bit here. I was thinking that if I play away, like, oh yeah, you know, you have to play here, and there's all this, AI just says to play here. Obviously, like, capture one side, capture the other. White has no answer. Yeah, so it's interesting. Like, white has to play here, and if white doesn't, then there's just this very obvious move. So that's good to know. So black surrounds, white stones. Good. I mean, I would say that it's not necessary, because after you've captured these stones, then there's no weakness. So if there's no disconnection, then objectively these stones don't have any value. It's good enough to capture it. You know, it's fair enough, but it's a bit, you know, it's a bit unnecessary, a bit inefficient. But, you know, okay, fine. Black wins this game, so we shouldn't be too hard on them. So I play here. Black remarked during the game that this is a position I play all the time, because they're always attaching on top. So, yeah, so I always play it. And the idea is that I try to make light shape here. And so then they play A instead of B. Both the players who I'm going to review today, they know to play here, because I've played this against them. They know, I've told them this is the way to play. This is Joseki, and so they should just play that. So playing here, I don't like this because it leaves the corner open, and it doesn't mean, like, it's not clear what you're trying to do with this move. It's like you tried to take the corner, but then you didn't. So, like, just take the corner. You know, don't need to be hurried or rushed. So white says, okay, I'm going to use these dead stones to make some shape. Black plays Atari, and then here. I would say this is okay. What I don't like about this is that just clean up the weakness. And if white lives, so what? Like, you're not, like, this is one thing I've also been saying to this player, like, you're 9 stones ahead. Just like, I know that I've been saying to keep pressure on white and all this, but just take the territory. Just play solid. Like, you don't need to kill white. If white lives all over the board, white will like, maybe not like all over the board in the sense of, like, white is connected and disconnects black and creates weaknesses, but if you just let white live small, and if you just constantly surround them and constantly play thick shape, there's like it isn't like no way that you'll lose. But this I do think that this player shouldn't be playing me on 9 stones, and if they just get these basics right again, they will start creaming me, and I hope they will keep going with just winning and beating me. So we have this, and black comes back. This was a mistake again. So this is a mistake again by white. So the issue here is that I'm trying to do some shenanigans where I tried to like squeeze, and I basically played a mistake. So here I played this Atari instead, and they just played this double Atari and win. So okay, that didn't work. And the idea was that maybe I can squeeze over here, not this way. This way. No, not that way. I want to squeeze, capture, this way, and then maybe leave this shape and just play here. So the idea is that White's able to make a little bit more shape somehow. But, I mean, I guess it's okay, because these stones were kind of lost anyway, and this makes black very overconcentrated, and so this is what White wants to achieve. So I think this is actually... I saw this during the game, and I thought, like, okay, well, this doesn't quite work if I play this one and come over here. This, like, I would hope for this Atari, this one, but that's not going to happen because this will capture, so that's not going to work. So I read that far, and I said, like, okay, well, maybe I can come from this side, and no, not really, because I'll just connect and whatever. So that's why at this point, don't do any more forcing moves and keep the Aji on the board. But then I thought, like, okay, well, maybe I can Atari over here. But then I was also thinking, okay, well, what if I play this Atari and then play this one instead? But the issue is that no, white's too weak. Black will just force their way out, so that's no good, and then the inside stones are dead. So that's the idea, is that I shouldn't get tricksy with this move, and I should just play here and just try and escape into the center. And these stones are dead, so this group here is fine. And the only thing here is perhaps this group. Let me highlight it. This group. So this group feels unsteady. And why does it feel unsteady? It feels unsteady because white can play here later. So okay, it's not so bad, because nothing else is in trouble. Black can press on this group, and this group is in trouble on the outside. Meanwhile, black is surrounding white, which is wonderful. So this is like, black's not in any real danger here. But the reason why it feels unsteady is because, like, you left that behind, and you didn't really need to. And I guess, like, in a normal game, this isn't so bad. But then also, like, if the intention is to come underneath here, then why didn't you come right away? Like, it's... I guess what I'm slowly learning, like, as I play more and more handicap games with these people from the club, what I'm thinking is that I don't think they really understand why they fall behind as black, why they sometimes lose to me in these games. And the reason, like the death happens, and then they're not sure why it happened, and then so they think, like, oh, I need to attack, or not, but like that they then like get confused and play moves that they really wouldn't normally play. And I guess, what am I trying to say here? I'm trying to say that black should just calm down, play strong shape, and then attack white when they get the opportunity, because if they have strong shape, they'll have that opportunity. And then because they're robust and because everything makes sense, they'll just crush white. You don't have to do anything special. Just be normal. Just do normal things. So here, for instance, that was the thing as well when I was watching Shy Ghost games. Like, the guy is 6 Dan, and his reasoning, he doesn't read particularly deep. Like, this is part of the reason why he's not like 7 Dan, even, kind of by his own admission, is that he doesn't want to, he only wants to read out moves that are kind of like obvious, and he doesn't want to play like the deep readouts. Obviously, he does have strong reading ability, and he does have strong he does have a lot of experience to know what things to read out. So yeah, okay, he's 6 Dan for a reason, and it looks obvious, but that's because he's showing the way. If he wasn't showing the way, it wouldn't be so obvious. But the point is that it's all simple stuff. If you just adhere to the basics, if you just make simple shape, then, I mean, this Atari isn't so bad, but just come back here instead of attacking. If you cover your weaknesses, then form a fist before striking. If you cover your weaknesses, then you can come and attack white later. So, okay, so he breaks through, and basically I resign the game at this point, because, well, I end up losing everywhere. So, like, I said all of this about black's play they totally beat me because I was continuously playing weak moves. Like how many bad moves did I play? Like I played over here. I tanuki'd. I tanuki'd this was it this move, so they were able to break me apart here. And then what else? Like I played this move over here, and I mean this. I don't. I guess not technically a mistake this one, but okay. So like the reason why White lost is because White played way too many moves, being like, yeah, it's 9 stones. I'm gonna tear Black apart. And you see like if you're not playing against a complete beginner, then it doesn't really work like that. So okay, I'm gonna continue playing against this player, and I hope that they beat me many times so we can play with a reduced handicap because this is ridiculous. They should be able to beat me, and you can see they do. So he can play like this. So let's keep going. I'm gonna move to the next game, and I'll see you all in a second. All right. So now we have the next player who has been playing me on 7 stones. So they were playing this unfortunate player started playing me on like 3 or 4 stones, and that was crazy. And so we've been progressively adding more and more stones, and now they're at 7. I think it makes sense. I think like recently they seem to have had a little bit of a breakthrough in terms of like understanding what they're doing with the game, and so they had 2 wins against me at 7 stones, and if they had beat me in this game, then they would have gone down to 6 stones, but they didn't. So we're gonna play at 7 stones for a little while longer. However, I do think that this player has gotten like I think like after having reviewed this game, I think that some of their usual mistakes are creeping back into the game, but I think they at least understand why they're mistakes now, and that means that they can progress. So I'm sure it'll happen. Just give them a couple more games and we'll be there. So okay, so what have we got? So we talked about this just now, and I'm gonna say this is okay. This is good. So we're just making strong shape here for black, which is what I'd recommend. So this is all fine. White plays A, and we're gonna talk about A for a second. So A is a little bit wider. So normally we play these kinds of like knights moves to try and like slowly start to take the corner. Uh, you know, in AI land, uh, the taking the corner more firmly can sometimes lead to the AI trying to like press on that position to over concentrate it. And so more, since AlphaGo and the new AI, whatever, they we have these larger knights moves, uh, basically because they don't take the corners firmly and it's less likely to get over concentrated. In the past, we saw like, oh, like what happens if white jumps in? Then is this bad? And the answer is like no. Well, the idea is that in the past we thought that this was bad because white too easily takes a corner, and so why should you play these large knights moves? But now we're like, okay, well, white can take the corner, but it's very small, and black gets the outside, and it's fine. So the theory now is that this is like just enough pressure to take the corner. You don't want to like grab onto it, and a lot of beginner players will like grab onto it. So we see that here. This is not trying to take it as firmly. It's more influential. We're looking more on the side of the board, and so okay. But this player really enjoys this move. But what I find really confusing, like at first I thought, oh, you're an aggressive player, and so okay, it makes sense you're not playing very territorially. I've played this player some more. They're not they could be maybe, but they're not really. They're kind of like they're a bit territorial, a bit defensive. So that already like, but the point is that they're not like really aggressive, but they they're territorial minded, which then makes you wonder, okay, well, why are you playing A then? And we'll see the reason why later, and this will come up. So I'm just flagging that right now. Like it's not. I know that this player likes or like wants to play this. This is like their signature kind of move, but it's not clear to me why they're playing it, and we'll discuss that more in a second. So here once again, a little bit looser, all fine. A is not ideal, and the reason why A is not ideal is because when you play, when you play here, you have 2 options. You can play either A or you can play B. Uh, or you can play like this, but don't play like that because this is just letting white go. Basically, you don't want to just capture 1 stone. We want to do more than that in the opening. So here, this like puts the most pressure on white, and it allows black to expand the most. And the issue is that when white plays this move here, there is this cutting point. Let me highlight the cutting point. The cutting point is here, and there's also another one here. So black connects, and then we can play here, and now black has this dango dumpling shape, and it's a bit heavy, and white is alive. So uh, this the issue with this e5 stone is that it allows white to get here later. So you'd rather if you look at the shape, you would much rather have this stone be here. And that change is such an improvement that you like these days. I mean, once again, mistakes are all relative to your level. So if you're like, completely new to the game, then feel free. But eventually, you'll start playing opponents that know this weakness, and this result is not nice for black. This doesn't feel good. This feels very comfortable for white. So yeah, that's why at higher levels this is not really played anymore. So here, okay, black plays this way instead, and then I make this cutting point known, and I come over here. This is you can see how, I mean, what are other ways to play? Like these days, like you go for the attachments basically, and you basically there are all sorts of ways you can go from here. That's a whole Joseki lecture. We'll not get into that now, but the point is just that like you play these attachments, um, or like you can play here and maybe like go for the corner, or like block in this direction, and then maybe something like this. There are all sorts of things you can do. So okay, fine, you play this way, and then black descends, and then white comes out. So this is not as nice for black. There's still, despite black trying to fix their shape, there's still another cut, and that cut actually becomes a problem later. So this is really, really not nice for black. So black pushes once and then plays here. I guess it's okay. I guess like, yeah, you might as well play this push, because if you play away now, white gets this move, and maybe that's, it's not the worst in the world, but it's not ideal. So okay, fine, push one more time, and then okay, I guess I like this move as well, because it kind of keeps white unsettled. Maybe you're looking to play A later, maybe, so like, okay, fine, maybe that's fine. So here, black pincers, making this a strong shape. That's great. White jumps out. Black takes the corner. And so the thing is, it's not just black takes the corner. We have black. I'll just reveal now that black plays A later. So it's not just B, but A. And I guess like it makes sense. A. I think like let me reveal what actually happens. So I come here, and then black. So like here, like the point is that black is like very territorially minded. They really want that corner. But if they want that corner, then why play A in the first place? You can now imagine that, like, imagine if you had this position, would you play A here now? Maybe not. So, yeah, I think this is why I'm confused about why this player is playing A. They can make it their signature move, but they're not following up on that idea. So, like, the idea is that you don't take the corner and you go after whatever else. And I thought, like, this is maybe you use that to try and like undermine white or something. I don't know, but like, so you can see like the idea of it isn't quite followed up in such a great way. So anyway, this is okay. You take the corner, okay? Like this is like here. If you had this move, if you had these two moves here, then you can definitely see A as an option. Like you may just play B, you may play C, but A is reasonable. You could do that. So it's not a problem yet. So then black comes into the center. That's great. And then I turn here, and then the problem here becomes known. So black really wants to play this way, and this player did see this, which is good. So they played these two Atari, and then, or well, they didn't allow this to happen, basically, where I get these Ataris and then I can separate this group and I can probably kill this. So this Hane is too thin, and black needs to defend, and then white comes out. But white comes out, which isn't, it's not ideal. You'd rather keep white surrounded. Notice the reason for black. Why is white not surrounded? White is not surrounded because of these weaknesses that are left behind, because of the shape. Because of, I mean, to be fair, I don't expect them to know that A has these issues. But once again, this is why you play against stronger players. They'll play these things, and then maybe you're lucky enough to get a review, and then they'll explain where you went wrong, and then you'll learn. So no problem. Okay, white breaks out here. Not ideal, but it's a handicap game. It's expected that black will make some mistakes. Black stays connected, which is wonderful. I love this. Wait, no, actually, black does not stay connected. Black plays over here because they're worried. So what are you worried about? So here, I think like maybe black is worried about something like this, but then black can just jump out over here and okay, fine, maybe white can push a little bit and like play here, but there's realistically, I mean, I guess black is kind of weak, so I can kind of understand, you know, it's just I guess what I mean to say is, if you look at the shape, we had to play this move to cover the weakness. Then we had to play this move to cover the weakness, and then we had to play this to take the territory. And we're then allowing ourselves to get cut here. So like this is very, let's just say that black is a little bit over-invested over here, and that comes from playing the weak shape earlier, and maybe they'll play different patterns in the future, and so it'll be okay. But my point is that playing this is nice for white, kind of, because actually this group might not be as settled or as strong as I thought. But the idea is that connection and disconnection is the most fundamental thing in Go. And so, if white is keeping black disconnected, that is good in a handicap game. This is what white is trying to do. So I think this is okay for white. Black goes for this peep, and I really wanted Tanuki because on the one hand, this is one stone, but then black gets connected, and then everything is strong. I guess the thing is that black is already like invested in taking this corner, and they already have a pretty solid base over here. So maybe white can allow this. Maybe white can play away, but I didn't. And I guess it's kind of defensible, but I wish I didn't have to. But it's white. What are you going to do? You try, basically. And here, what I don't like is that black is being surrounded. White surrounds black. Luckily, black is strong enough so that the surrounding doesn't threaten to kill them. So I guess there's that. And I guess the other thing as well is that white has some weaknesses on the outside. So it's not the greatest, but at the very least, it's not a losing horrible position. But I guess like the point that I want to raise is that this is one of those games where black continuously loses points throughout the game. Like it's not that any one mistake, and this is how handicap games are kind of supposed to go, where black is making continuously inefficient moves, and then by the time the game is over, white narrowly wins this game by 4.5 points. That's great. That shows that the handicaps well. If there were, assuming that many games happen like this, this is showing that the handicap's about right. I think that black can, if black learns from this game, I'm sure that black will be able to beat me, but or be able to get down to 6 stones. I'm very sure that black can do this, but the point is that we're where they need to be right now. So white plays this move, and then black takes a territory. The reason why I'm not happy with this is because look at this shape. Look at this shape here. Before playing, I'm not good at this. I'm not good at this either, so I'm not gonna like admonish black because this is exactly the kinds of problems that I would say it's the kind of problem I have, but if I track my mistakes at the moment, my two biggest problems are that I struggle to kill when I've surrounded a group and it's about to die, and what was the other one? Yeah, exploiting weaknesses. So yeah, so this is but exploiting weaknesses in the sense that I don't sense how the shape can be broken. I do also have the problem that I over-focus on my weaknesses, but the point is that this shape is really thin. Black can just come out. There's no reason, like, I guess what happens if white tries to place here? This kind of clamp is kind of normal, and then you might get something like this, but black's okay. Meanwhile, so like what else can happen? So like white can come out here. Okay, maybe there are cuts, and then, but there's this, and then here, so not really. So there's not really a weakness here for white. So black doesn't need to be as defensive as playing here. Just playing here to split the group. And why not? Why can't black do this? Like black took a move to try and focus on their weaknesses. So why do they have to focus on their weaknesses even more? So like, yeah, so this move, this is a bit like defensive, a bit overly defensive here. So, okay, white fixes their problem, and slowly, like, we can, like, white now has all of this, like, the reason why it's good to surround is because they have all these stones on the outside, and then you can use them later. So white's, like, the game is not lost. The game is still, black can still win. But this is how they're losing ground. So The reason, and then the thing that I have to say about this move is that I've been reviewing a lot of my 20Q games lately, and the problem that I always find with the 20Q games is that they play like these really high moves, and then they leave like the invasions or these things behind. So what I would say is like focus on this kind of move last when this move would turn all of this into territory. And until then, just take the corner. Like the and this is normally this player's approach for the game, where they say, I'm going to take this corner and I'm going to play like up to here, like very firmly taking the corner. This is what they like to do. Continue with that. There's not like the problem with taking territory is when that territory is obviously like very very slow. But this early in the game, it is not. It's not slow to be taking the corner. It is one of the biggest moves on the board. So like, go take that instead of taking center territory. And we'll talk a little bit more about center territory in a second. So okay, so I invade, we kick, we play this one, no problem, and then I play here. So this was good for white because this confuses black. And playing like I guess on the one hand, it's like a known trick move. So like once I explain it, the trick move isn't gonna work, and yeah, and then maybe the handicap will get reduced. But here I play this move. So here black plays here, it's fine, and then plays away, and then white can make the connection stronger. Don't let white make the connection stronger. Don't overthink it. Well, you know that you can play here now. This is the move. So normally white will clamp and then come underneath here, and then basically the idea is that white doesn't have two eyes. So I mean, like white can make at best an eye here, at best. Like white makes an eye in Gote. So yeah, so white's not settled basically. So this move was right. Black just didn't follow up on it, and white can correct their shape a little bit. So black got tricked and then play here. So once again, like I think these are the kinds of moves that this player makes very often. Is like playing for the center, and like the reason why playing for the center isn't so great is because like you want to point like here basically there's a little bit of weakness in this shape here, and so white comes through here later. So this move actually doesn't end up making a lot of territory. But the idea is that white is weak over here, so focus on that. So like, or like keep this group, or keep these groups connected, or something like that. Like this move also itself takes territory and then keeps white unsettled, and white has to think about, okay, maybe I'm going to continue playing here, and then the game continues. Black plays this move, and white plays here, and this is like the big mistake this player. They always let me through. If connection disconnection is the most important thing, then why are you letting me out? Why are you letting me disconnect these stones? So, okay, fair enough. Maybe the shape wasn't great, and then here, and now there's cutting and all this, and okay, fair enough. But that, like, what I want to show black is just press white down, and black is connected, and okay, white's almost alive, but now at least you're making territory, and at least this move is doing something. But if you're just gonna let me through, then this move doesn't have any value, and then I'm cutting you off, and then this is where the problems will start to will begin. So I think I like Tanuki now. I think like I'm aiming for this cut. So my idea is that like I'm looking for this ladder here, and so my idea is that if I have an extra move, let me quickly put an extra move here. Then if that breaks the ladder, then this is what I'm looking for basically. So okay, black lets me press them down a little bit, and then I play over here, and I go for this cut, and then they Tanuki. I mean, if you're going to play, then at least like seal me in. But also this move is quite important because if you don't, then I get the Satari, and okay, black then, like black should really connect. I know why they don't, because black is slowly getting heavy, but at the same time, like letting white, like all of this everything, all the potential now for black here is gone, and this is getting really small, and so this is why it's like you want to not necessarily be playing these high moves here in the center, because unless you're keeping enough pressure on white, the territory that you make in the center is just not worthwhile basically. Um, yeah, so like it becomes too small, especially if you let white connect like this and be strong. Then black gets reduced even more. So here I have to defend a weakness. Do I have to defend it? Here, I mean, I guess Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I didn't have to defend it, but here, so then this one, and then I take this cut and play here. So black is now surrounded. I think I wanted to mention like here, if you're gonna leave a cut behind, have a plan for it. And then I'm thinking playing. I want to play here, but then like, uh, I'm also a bit uneasy with this somehow. So like maybe playing this way and then playing over here. Making stronger shape. It's not ideal because you lose all this territory, but the reason why you're losing this territory is because these stones are weak. And the reason why these stones are weak is because you let me cut through. So don't let me cut through. And yeah, okay, maybe this is heavy, but is this, losing all this territory heavy? I'm not quite sure. Or at the very least, just playing again here, or just keeping me sealed in better the first time. So like there are all sorts of things that could be like you can see how like these mistakes, one after the other. That's how black loses their advantage. So okay, we come this way, and then I make this cut, and this is like I think like what I'm thinking is that uh, can black make the ko now? I don't think so. Play here. White needs to come back and defend, and then black turns here. But I think black should play the ko, because if white connects, this isn't going to work. And then black is out, and then can white save this? No, I don't think so, because one of these groups are going to die, so this isn't going to work. So, so here I think black should play the ko, and because they don't, I'm able to connect solidly and kill this group, and that's great for white. So, killing this group is great because white's connected, white's strong, and this reduces black majorly. Black's group, black makes no points over here, and it's getting reduced on this side, so this is a really good result for white. I'm going to let this move go. This is perhaps a little bit too defensive. I'm not sure, like for these overly defensive moves, it is okay to have anxiety that white might do something, but black has to read it out. This player is not necessarily the one who makes this mistake that often, but from the previous recording, that player does this a lot. And every time you play like an overly defensive move, you should sit and read, and then whatever you read, you should trust basically. And sometimes when the game is very even, you then like don't trust your reading, and then you end up like losing the game because the game is very close, and that's why you play like these defensive moves. But or even like if you're way ahead, you play these defensive moves and you lose 30 points in endgame like I did the other day, because you're not putting enough pressure on your opponent. So like these moves are this is a bad habit, and you can only justify this if you end up winning the game, or you have like I think there should be a little bit more IG, but this is not so bad. We'll let this go. I do the same thing. I actually don't think there's a lot that black can do here. Like I was like, okay, well, black has like Atari, and maybe can Atari like I was wondering if maybe like this throw-in works, but you shouldn't do the throw-in, so just extend. And then it's not clear what black does from here. And so yeah, black is still captured. So because of this, I shouldn't play this move. This is too defensive. White doesn't I mean, in a handicap game, there's really no excuse. At least for black, there's an excuse. I can let 06 go. We can let that go. That's fine. I played this move. I don't think black realized that I can cut through here. This becomes important later, but it's I guess like this is Sente because otherwise you lose these stones. So black should respond. The thing is they play over here, and now this move I have to call out because okay, you're telling me that this area was so weak. You not only had to fix your weakness once, but twice. Um, what did black do to have such a weak position that they needed to play again here twice? That's the question. So like yeah, I'm not sure. So like imagine white plays here. I don't know, maybe like here. So imagine something like this. I guess like so okay, maybe there is a problem over here. But then the solution to this is not to play that move, but then to play here instead. And I think that makes a lot of sense because if white connects, and I think playing here to keep all this territory, like it's urgent. So you like imagine I keep having the metaphor of like filling a bucket, and you can't fill a bucket if you're constantly losing water on the bottom. So plug the bucket, keep the water you have. Play K6, keep the water you have. Um, let's see now. So I come through here. This is kind of sad. Black gets really reduced, and I'm cheeky and I play in here. So here, and then just cut, and then black then got confused. Black, if you play here, that kills. White, if white does anything else, then these stones get captured. So white has to play here. Then black can play this Atari, capture, descend, and then white doesn't have enough. And if white responds, then come on this side, and the same thing again. So just like this throw-in was necessary. Black doesn't do that, and they play the Atari on this side, and then runs out of liberties, basically. So now it's 3-3 liberties. So this extra push here wasn't necessary, but I found that if I came from this side, then it's still, like, if white comes this way now, then yeah, it's still not good, basically. So the point, don't worry about it. Like, don't worry. Like, the point is that just play here, and that solves the position. So white was just overplaying, and unfortunately white got away with it. So okay, but luckily black can connect underneath here, but not. Black can make an eye, and then white gets this move. And like, I think it's interesting because we see like how getting tricked once kind of like leads to this escalation. This is what white's looking for in the game. Like the dominoes are falling, the weaknesses show up one after the other, and these are the positions that white is looking for. This is where black will really start losing it. So here, I make a mistake. I should play here. So the idea is, say black plays something else. White can just connect out, something like this. Here. So this way. And then here. Has to connect and make another eye, but can't because white escapes. So this is Sente. Black has to respond. Then what? Yeah, capture. No, not capture. This one. And then here. So, okay, black is still dead. But the point is that if white wants to kill, white has to play here. White doesn't. Black gets the shape. And then I want to kill this group, but there's this weakness. And the issue is that black can come out and then take this. So I have to connect over here, and now these stones on the inside are dead, so this isn't working. So then I have to play away. I get this from earlier, which is good. And then black spends extra moves to live. So long as this weakness is on the board, black doesn't need to play this. Yeah, so black lives, and now it's endgame. And so here I make the comment that black has 15 points. It's endgame, and it's possible to lose 15 points in endgame. So it's competitive at this point. And especially if you're playing as a stronger player, they'll usually play a stronger endgame than you. What are the things that black needs to think about? The things that black needs to think about is, hey, do you remember when I played here? You can play this and now capture these stones. Yeah, so I didn't realize that, and that would have lost me the game. So there's this. This is the thing about handicap stones. People don't understand why the stones on the fourth line is such a big deal, but the reason why is because like these, you'd think like, oh, this is like magic, like these weaknesses just appear, but the reason why they appear is because white's so overextended and because all these things. So like the point to say is that these weaknesses that happen, like the ability for black to save, or the ability, like these weaknesses that happen just kind of magically, it comes from that pressure of the handicap stones. That's why they happen, basically. So here, so there was this one, and then of course the mistake that lost them everything, which was this one, and yeah, so white gets some points, and then black lost by 4.5 points. So black at the end of the game was like, oh, if only I had noticed this and played here instead, then I would have won. Yes, that's true, but consider that in a 7-stone handicap, you've lost like 70 points of ground. So yes, okay, but like don't focus on that. Focus on all of, like, think about all the mistakes, and if you can learn from all of those, then that's the point. This is the reason why we play handicap games. It's because then when black whatever the result of the game is, Black loses so much ground in a single game that there's so much that you can possibly learn from it. Whereas if you're playing against a player that's like ridiculously stronger than you, they will just like crush you in the Joseki. You will be like behind by move 30, and the game will be over, and you'll never have a chance. I don't think people understand like how like that's not a it's not an interesting game. You don't learn from those games because they're over so fast. If you're gonna play against a stronger player, at least play a handicap game, then you'll make like 50 mistakes before the game ends, and then it's very valuable. And then if that player then reviews it for you, you learn. This is how much you learn. So like, sorry for the rant, but this is it's taken me so long. It wasn't until I joined this club, the the owner of the or the leader of the club was very like very adamant about handicap games, and now I understand why. So this is really rubbed off on me. But anyway, so the main thing that I want this player to take away from this game, like yes, okay, all the mistakes, but the thing that I want them to know is A and B. These two moves. This move that tries to make territory in the center or like try to reduce. I'm not really sure. Probably to reduce white, but isn't really pointing at any weaknesses. White's not that big, so why? And then leaving these weaknesses behind, like not pressuring white over here. Like the timing of it basically is not good. And then like here, letting me through. Stop letting me through. Like if you ever let me through like this, like this is something I talk about in like even in my 22Q games. You very rarely want to like let people in, like let white into the center. Like the only like the plan for black for this move, the only way this would work is if white is dead locally, and by keeping this connection stronger, you're able to surround white on the outside. That's like like so. The point is that this move doesn't surround, but white's surrounded anyway, so you don't have to surround them. Like that's when this kind of move makes sense. And if you that's not what's happening, and that's not what's happening here, then that doesn't make sense. Like you'd rather even just play this, even though it's super thin. And then because it's super thin, it becomes clear that you shouldn't play this one, and then you can just play this one instead. And then going back progressively into the game and all this thing. So once again, this lecture might get a little bit long. If you watching this want to have your games reviewed, then please send them to me. I recognize slowly that I don't have it. If all of you start sending games, I'm not going to have time to review all of them. Get while the getting's good. I'm not a very big channel yet. I can easily get to whatever random stranger decides to send me their game. Yeah. Otherwise, I'll be reviewing more games from these players because I play them every week. I hope that they find this informative. I hope those of you at home watching find this informative. And yeah, like, comment, and subscribe if you like the content. And I will see you all next time.